Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important live stream, especially for someone like myself who will vote for Trump in 24. Indicted or unindicted really doesn't matter to me because I want record low poverty, the same record low poverty we had in 2019. I want an infinitely better foreign policy. I don't want to be 90 seconds to midnight, according to the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. Now, hit subscribe to my super chat. I cannot do this without you. If you want to talk about this, if you want to give me your thoughts on this topic, any concerns or any ideas or any viewpoint or opinion via super chat, your super chat support is greatly appreciated. They're going to indict Trump. Again, your super chat is greatly appreciated. I can't do these live streams without you, and I'm going to try to do more of these live streams. They're going to indict and charge former President Donald Trump, okay? I really won't care at all because they're desperate to get him politically. So this is basically a political endeavor. It has nothing to do with the rule of law. Absolutely zero to do with the rule of law. I'll explain why he will be indicted, and I'll explain why he will not be convicted, and I'll explain why this is nothing compared to what Joe and Hunter did in terms of lying. Okay, number one, yes, Trump did lie about having relations with Stormy. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, Trump did tell Michael Cohen to pay the contract, to pay the contract. There was a contract that Stormy signed. Number three, Stormy accepted the payment. Number four, it is only a campaign finance violation if Trump cannot prove there was a personal if he can't prove, if Trump can prove that there was a personal reason to pay Stormy. For example, he did not want his wife or children to know, like, so, for example, if Bill could have paid his intern in the Oval Office, there probably would have been an agreement there. He didn't want, Hillary and everybody to know. It would have been embarrassing. It was embarrassing, okay? Same with Trump. He didn't want people to know. So if the reason, and this is the article that I'm reading right now, if the reason was, and hit subscribe to this channel, to my super chat, I cannot do this without you. If you have any, anything to add to this discussion, please via super chat, go ahead. Your support and your viewpoints greatly appreciated. If he could prove, that paying Stormy the 120 or 100 grand or however much it was, I forgot, I think it was about $100,000, to not say anything, which, by the way, she accepted and signed. If he can prove, or he doesn't have to prove, if his defense is, hey, I didn't want the wife, the family to know, then it's not a campaign finance violation, okay? It's only a campaign finance violation, and this is why it's so ridiculous. Like, comparing Hunter and Joe and actual felonies. Dark Meta, hello. Eric, hello. Everybody here, hello. Comparing the two is you have actual felonies where you basically sold out U.S. national security to enrich yourself, okay? With Hunter and Joe, and the New York Post emails specifically list felonies. You have to read the New York Post emails, and you can see the felonies that Hunter and you can see the New York Post felonies that Hunter and Supermax, thank you, that Hunter and Joe committed. Okay, so this is nothing compared to what actually happened, but with Hunter and Joe. But if Trump can prove, or he doesn't have to prove, if Trump can say if his defense is, I didn't want people to know because it would be embarrassing to my wife and family, then he will not be convicted. Okay? If it was, the Stormy issue would have lost me 2016, then it's a campaign finance violation. Okay, the Honorable James Comey took that victory away from Clinton. Okay? Now, the Comey letter was what really sunk Clinton's campaign, in addition to the DNC emails, in addition to the fact that they cheated Bernie Sanders, in addition to the fact that Trump, fair and square defeated Clinton for a number of other reasons. Okay? Nobody would have altered their decision from Trump to Clinton because of a revelation that Stormy had romantic relations with Trump. So, in addition to telling the court that it was for personal reasons, it would not have altered the outcome. Okay? Everybody knew that Trump had, relationships, or, he had that type of personality where he would have a contractual relationship with a film star. Okay? But I want to read you this. So they're going to they want to get him on a technicality. It is true that the money was more than allowed for a campaign donation. Okay? You can't give, it's like $2,500. It's not $100,000+. It is true that Michael Cohen made the payment. It is true that he made the payment because Trump basically told him to. It is not true that a law was broken, because it's very difficult to prove that Trump did so because he was afraid of the repercussions. I mean, they were accusing him of everything under the sun. The last thing that would have harmed him 13 days or even a day before November of 2016 was a romantic relationship with a beautiful woman who happened to be a film star. Okay, yeah, it's not good because he was married, but Bill Clinton did the same thing. Democrats didn't care. But here, this is an article from The Verdict, Legal Analysis and Commentary. Okay, from Justia. Trump hush payment to Stormy does not violate the law. So it likely does not violate the law for a number of reasons. The main reason is this. So get ready for the indictment. They're basically going to indict Trump almost certainly on this for a number of reasons, in addition to a number of other reasons, in addition to the reasons that I mentioned. Okay? In addition to the reasons that I mentioned, they're almost certainly going to indict Trump on this. And here's why they won't convict him. Quote, as the debate has taken shape, there are two principal lines of argument for Trump, one focusing on the purpose of the expenditure and the second on the source of the money. As to the first, the argument is essentially that the payment to Stormy was a personal expense and thus did not constitute an expenditure or contribution at all, because expenditures and contributions alike must be made, quote, for the purpose of influencing any for federal office. 52 U.S.C. 3010189. Monies paid for a different purpose, say to avoid personal embarrassment or family hardship, which is what would have happened had, the wife and everybody, had Melania and other people knew. And she might well have already known and not cared about it. But it might have been, embarrassing or hurtful if the whole world knew. So that could be one reason. Would not fall within the ambit of the campaign finance laws. This is ultimately a factual issue, turning on whether Trump's dominant purpose was to avoid embarrassment or to influence voters. Not one person would have cared. Nobody on this planet would have cared if Trump had Stormy and 10, 20 other film stars. And in the same night, they wouldn't have cared. Nobody would have. You were voting for Trump for a better economy and a better foreign policy. Okay, it's not like Biden's personality or his ethics or past financial dealings or even past voting record in terms of foreign policy, domestic policy, crime bill. I mean, you're talking about somebody who they like to disparage Trump, but it was Biden who did more harm to today's Democrats than Trump ever did. Trump, we had record low poverty, and we had a great foreign policy where he removed Americans from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. The man did a lot of good things. But his purpose was not to influence. I mean, his purpose could have been if Michael Cohen then testifies and says, "Oh well, he really thought that this would lose 2016. He would lose 2016." Jeffrey, I agree with you. And so the issue is they have to prove that this was to ensure voters that Trump wanted to pay Stormy to be quiet because he thought that Stormy's story would influence 2016 and he would lose to Clinton. But do you really think that he thought he would lose to Clinton because of a relationship with Stormy? No. That has nothing to do with anything. If anything, it would, in a very peculiar manner, make him more popular among voters. So, Trump's dominant purpose was to avoid embarrassment. Turning on whether Trump's dominant purpose was to avoid embarrassment or to influence voters, and perhaps a legal issue as to whether the action undertaken with mixed motives, one personal and one to influence the campaign, can be actionable. So then they might get him on, well, yeah, it was both. You can't do both. So, right here, in these instances, a key issue is the meaning of the phrase "for the purpose of influencing any or for federal office." The phrase is not defined in the statute or in the regulation, and it is thus unclear what mental state suffices. If the law requires but for causation that the payment would not have been made were it not for 2016, the government faces an uphill battle. While it is more likely than not that 2016 concerns motivated the payment, Trump has a colorable argument, particularly in light of his past practice, to pay off those accusing him of misconduct. That another reason, likely avoiding personal embarrassment, would have led him to make the payment in any event, if at a later time. It's not clear at this stage or whether the FECA imposes liability in mixed motive cases, and if so, whether the motive has to be the predominant one. So they don't really care about convicting him. Henry, man! Henry! Look, one of Trump's many achievements, he walked into North Korea and quieted it. Exactly. First president to step foot in North Korea. I mean, that's a huge a paradigm-changing moment. They tried to call it a photo op, Henry. They tried to call it a photo op, but it was a paradigm-changing moment. That was a very important achievement, a foreign policy achievement. And can you imagine if Clinton had done that, Hillary? We would never hear the end of it. But, Trump doesn't do enough to bring up, his positives. Henry, thank you so very, very, very much. So, now, this is why they'll indict him, okay? He did, here's the problem. This is one of the few times where Trump did lie about what they accused him of doing. So he never worked with Russia. That was a lie by Democrats. He never had any tax issues. Another lie by Democrats in New York. He never pressured anyone. Another lie by Democrats in Georgia. But Trump did lie about And I'm voting for the man, but this is the truth. He did lie about the donation, the money to Stormy. Okay, the money to Stormy, they say hush money. It's like this dramatic. It was a contract. Okay, I don't want to say like, use words to label people, but what is the profession or definition of a contract for a romantic relationship? Okay, so it was a contract. He did have the romantic relationship, so Trump lied about that. He did pay the money. Trump lied about that. So they're going to get him on specific. They're going to try to prove they can prove that he did not tell the truth about that. Now the difference is like you can prove that Hunter and Joe lied about business schemes, but they're not going to try and do that because the Democratic Party will not go after and media will not allow their the most egregious crimes to be investigated if they're committed by Hunter or Joe. Conversely, this is simply a way to try to tarnish his image. It's not really it's not going to work. In the long term, it won't work. Angie, hello. Yeah, here's the thing. He almost certainly did just because, you have he's not going to pay $100,000 if he didn't. That's the thing. Henry, man! Who is your choice for VP, Carrie Lake? DeSantis. Let's see. I think he's already picked DeSantis. There's no way he picks Carrie Lake because Carrie Lake hasn't won yet. It may be in a couple years she will, maybe the next time around. But Henry, I believe DeSantis is already his choice, Henry. I believe DeSantis is already his choice. You know why? Because this Ron DeSantis has like 20 to 30 billionaires. Those billionaires are giving him money to run against Trump, but when Trump, it's like Pac-Man. When Trump picks DeSantis, he gobbles up all the money that the Never Trump billionaires gave DeSantis. So it's pretty interesting the way it works. At the end of the day, Trump controls his destiny. DeSantis is the choice of Never Trumpers, but Never Trumpers are either some of them are either too foolish to realize what's really taking place, or they're smart enough to realize that at the end of the day, at least they'll have some influence with Trump if DeSantis is his vice president. Okay, with Carrie Lake, he hasn't. I agree that at the end of the day, DeSantis will be beneficial to Trump for a number of reasons. So here, FEC declined to investigate. The reason was, I agree with you, Angie. Michael Cohen he committed crimes. Okay, that he served prison time for financial crimes that had nothing to do with Trump. Okay, he had a failed taxi business, but then he pleaded guilty to these campaign finance violations because they just tried to get Trump. The thing is, they'll say, let's say he didn't have a romantic relationship. Well, then why did he pay the money? So, Michael Cohen was the intermediary. He paid the money to Stormy, but I believe it was Trump's money, so Trump didn't put his name on the, Trump didn't put his name on the contract. That's another thing. See, here, they're going to try to get him on a number of things, okay? Trump, I don't believe, put his name on the contract. I think it was Michael Cohen that I think it was Michael Cohen that put his name on that contract. So it was $130,000. Okay, so it was $130,000. And so so the payment was not reported on Trump. Cohen, who said he paid off Daniels and other women, so the other women will actually help Trump. It was jailed in 2018 for, no, it was tax evasion. That was the main thing. It wasn't campaign finance laws or lying to Congress. He had a business, a failed taxi business. So, for example, the FEC fined Clinton and the DNC for the Steele dossier, which is a far greater campaign finance violation. But here, if he doesn't, here's the thing, Henry, thank you to my super chat. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you. And you could be right, Angie. I could be wrong. You could be right. Thank you for being a member always, Angie, and for your support. Yeah, I mean, you could be 100% right. There is a chance that Michael Cohen did this on his own without Trump's knowledge. He probably did have a romantic relationship with Stormy. I mean, she's an attractive woman, so Trump was attracted to her. I don't know. Trump's world. I don't know how that world lives, but I don't even know how they met. I don't even know how Stormy and Trump met, so I don't know how they met. They did meet. But here, so then Michael Cohen, of course, he's now sold his soul to the Democratic Party because he doesn't want to serve prison time for financial crimes he committed. Cohen told the New York Times in a statement, the hush money payment was done at the direction of and the benefit of Donald J. Trump. Like me, Trump should have been found. But he wasn't. This is hilarious. Michael Cohen was found guilty on banking violations. How the FEC could rule any other way is confounding. It's not confounding. He knows exactly why the FEC would rule, because we explained that if it was a personal expenditure that had to do with preventing embarrassment and it wasn't part of his campaign, then it's not a violation. So Michael Cohen right here, he had failed taxi. So here, this is why Michael Cohen turned on Trump. Michael Cohen has $22 million in debt because of his taxi medallions. Now, here's something that I never understood, and people said, well, there are reasons for this. If you have a taxi, this is what I never understood. You explain this to me. Okay, this is why I never understood. Okay? In 2009, I remember going to New York, my whole life I've gone to New York. I have family in New York. Okay, but you go to New York before Uber and before Lyft or whatever, you'd have a taxi. You get a taxi, and there's still taxis in New York, okay? You get a cab, okay? Now, I remember if it was New York or D.C. or whatever, you have to wait on a street, and eventually, within a minute or within 10 minutes, you're going to get a taxi on most streets, okay? This is what I don't understand. Henry, thank you again for your super chat. To my super chat, thank you. I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is what I don't understand about the taxi business, and I don't understand this about other businesses like bookstores, okay? If you know an app, exactly, Angie. If you know that a thing on your phone, okay? If you know that you have an app on your phone, it's 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. You know that things are changing. You know there's something called Uber. How difficult is it to then get your own app if you're an existing taxi company? How difficult is that? I don't get it. I don't get it. Like if you're Barnes & Noble, you're Borders, remember all these bookstores, Walden Books, all these old books. If you know that Amazon is online selling books, then go online and sell books. And then if you have the real estate, have little concerts, use the real estate, use the actual, I don't understand. I never understood that. So the man got, the taxi medallions used to be worth a great deal. With Uber, they dropped in price substantially, like really quickly. So if you look, I just don't understand why these taxi companies couldn't have done the same thing as Uber. I don't get it. If somebody could tell me in the chat, I just don't understand. I don't understand a lot of things about life, but I just don't get why. If you knew that Uber was encroaching upon your business model, then why don't you just, if you can't beat him, join him? $22 million in loans against the taxi medallions he owned. Okay, that's the reason, not because of campaign finance violation. Found that Cohen lied about income from consulting work in 2017 in order to avoid paying back loans. And failed to disclose tens of thousands of dollars he received in other monthly income. So he didn't pay his loans. The once rare taxi medallions were worth as much as $1.2 million obtained to. They went from $1.2 million per medallion to $200,000. Okay? Think about that for a second. Richard, hello. Think about that for Henry. Thank you. Okay, the the unions. Okay. Thank you, Henry. So that was the reason. Maybe the unions were the reason, but my God. Thank you, Henry. To my super chat, thank you. So it was $1.2 million, and they tanked to an average of $200,000. Okay, so that's the issue here. They went from $1.2 million to $200,000. That's why he avoid making monthly payments on his loans, attempt to fraudulently induce the banks to relieve him of certain repayment obligations and personal guarantees that Cohen and his wife had signed. So you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars. He pled guilty to banking crimes, or he had to because he was convicted on banking crimes. Okay? So that was the issue. It wasn't but this is the kind of the perfect thing that they're going to try to indict Trump on because it's salacious enough. It's salacious. Sean, hello. It's salacious enough. It's salacious enough to obsess over. Okay? They're going to obsess over this. They're going to probably get nasty. They'll probably, she's already gotten nasty. She's already tried to detail, make details and nasty details or whatever. And these are the morally superior people. They love to just wallow in the mud. It's a very low-class type of political hit job. But this is what usually takes down wealthy or powerful men. This type of thing. And so you have a situation where it's not difficult for Trump to actually defeat this in a court of law. But this, I've always said this is the only attempt at trying to hurt him legally that could actually work. And even then, they won't convict him. So, even then, they won't convict him. Okay, because they're not going to be able to prove that he did so because he was afraid of losing to Clinton. All right? They're not he wasn't afraid. Look, this is America. This is the way America works. He had a romantic relationship with a film star. He's going to gain votes. In the United States of America, Trump will gain votes. Like a person like Biden will not. Then they'll feel sorry for the film stars. Like, what's going on here? I don't want to see that. But he would have actually gained votes. So, I mean, there's an argument that he could have actually gained a couple thousand more votes. So, I mean, it's not really detrimental to one's campaign because he's not a choir, like he's not like this little angel. Biden has I don't like Biden's personality, and he's done more damage, harm to democracy and the republic than Trump ever could have, in my view. Just read that. If you read the New York Post emails, you'll see. These are actual felonies within those New York Post emails. It's true. Okay, Mike. So here's the issue. Here's the issue. The more layers that they try to peel, if Michael Cohen did pay, let's say the lawyer paid from his own pocket because he was just making things happen. Like if Trump said, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, go ahead and take care of it. The more that he lies, let's say, ladies and gentlemen, that it should be justified. But let's say, ladies and gentlemen, that he actually, had a romantic relationship with Stormy. Okay? Let's say Trump actually did have a romantic relationship with Stormy and told Michael Cohen to just take care of it. Okay? So let's say he did that. Let's assume that he did, which probably, in my view, likely happened. But let's say he did that. It's not a criminal offense under the FEC law. We talked about that. If he just wanted to prevent his wife from knowing or his family from knowing because he would be embarrassed. Now, here is where they can get Trump, and they're going to try obstruction of justice, perjury, because they're going to try to say, well, did you tell Michael Cohen in any way, shape, or form, did you communicate to him in any way, shape, or form to pay Stormy? If Trump says no, then that's a big problem. You don't have to be a lawyer to understand that. If Trump denies that if Trump denies that he told Michael Cohen to take care of it, that's no good. Then it's other perjury or whatever, because he'll eventually be. I don't know if he's going to be. I don't think he could be forced to testify. So that'll be interesting. But I do as well. Look, I support former President Trump. Okay, this is only to go after him because they despise him and they're desperate and they're going back into the well. Like I said, this is a very, very he can take the fifth, exactly. This is a very difficult situation for Trump. If he doesn't, he will play his cards right, but if he doesn't, they can get him. Okay? Then you have Stormy. She's going to be on she will be on every single talk show again. You have Michael Cohen. Avenatti will probably get a prison interview. Okay. And it'll be and then you'll hear, how dare you're gonna vote for Trump? How dare you? He had to Stormy. Oh, what happened to What happened to decency? Hunter, Bill Clinton. So, I mean, it's like, I think it's like, I I think it's kind of hilarious because then Trump will be like, I didn't have relations with Horseface. I can't do the Trump now. Horseface is at it again. I can't do my Trump today. I know, M. Evram, exactly. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's probably it's almost certainly going to help Trump, because every man in America, well, most, I'd say at least half, more than half, probably most, will look at this and they'll say, okay, I don't see the big problem here. They're just trying to get him. And also, you have Hunter, who... Yeah, you have Hunter, who routinely engages in these financial. You have, see, notice how I don't like judge Joe or Hunter or Bill. Well, Bill, possibly a different story, but I don't judge these people. I don't say, oh, they're so immoral. Of course, they've done things that are not moral. Of course, we know this. But my style is not to pontificate or preach. I try not to preach. I just give my opinion. You commit crimes, you commit crimes. Did Trump commit a crime? No. Here's the thing. If it would have affected the outcome of 2016, yes. Yes, then it would have been a crime. They did not affect the outcome of 2016. And they're very big Democrats on claiming that if it doesn't affect the outcome, it really doesn't matter. We don't have to get into that. But, yeah, I mean, even, like, this is the thing. I don't know how they met. Let's see. How did they meet? That's an interesting one. So, Trump has been invited to testify. Manhattan DA could be close to charging Trump. Trump indictment looms. I think that he'll probably be indicted on this, which will be hilarious. And then they're gonna be, you're gonna vote for an indicted. Like, you're desperate to get him and shield, because they're probably gonna indict Hunter. Which, by the way, Hunter actually committed felonies. This is like how the Philadelphia Eagles lost in the Super Bowl. No, there has never been, you don't call holding on that type of, with that moment. You don't call holding. But anyway, how did he meet Stormy? Let's just see here. How did Trump meet Stormy? How did Trump met on a golf course? Okay. His private bungalow. Okay, so they were on a golf course. So, why on earth was she at the celebrity golf tournament? That's what I don't understand. Okay, has been acting, directing. She was one of the most popular. Mr. Trump. She was introduced to Mr. Trump at a celebrity golf tournament in Lake Tahoe in 2006. She said he invited her to dinner and she met him at the hotel suite. So this only makes me like Trump more in a very peculiar way. But anyway, so I mean, it wasn't good that he did it because he was married. That's terrible, but they're so desperate to get him, but not Hunter or Joe. I just find... See, Trump is the Obi-Wan Kenobi of politics, so this will only help him. And it'll highlight the fact that Biden and Hunter and Joe, and the Clintons, but I believe Hillary will be the 24 nominee. I believe all of this is like Clintonian payback for Monica Lewinsky, that whole thing. So they're like, oh, this is payback. Well, we suffered through that. It's like, well, Bill, actually, he's the one who did everything, then got committed perjury. But anyway, I think that Hillary will be the 24 nominee. Okay, and how was the conversation? It started off about him just talking about himself. Okay, well then, why you dissing him? But apparently you didn't mind. So, and he's like, have you seen my new magazine? He was showing you his own picture on the cover of the magazine. Oh my God, he's such a narcissist. Meanwhile, Democrats have an entire public relations machine that destroys anyone. Whether it's, like, anyone that speaks out and actually like tells the truth, Tim Pool, Tucker Carlson, they will try to destroy. These are the people who aren't narcissists. They rely on an entire machine and then loyalists in the government to obliterate their opponents or silence the New York Post and censor them through Twitter. But they're not the narcissists. But could you believe Trump was talking about himself on a cover of a magazine? Oh my God. Oh my God. And so, right, and he was like, does this normally work for you? And he looked very taken back, like he didn't understand what I was saying. Like, does just, talking about yourself normally work? And I was like, someone should take that magazine and spank you with it. So, and I'll never forget the look on her face. He was like, what was the look? Well, obviously she was enamored with him, so I don't understand, like, she was enamored with him because he's a billionaire and he was Trump. I just don't think anyone ever spoke to him like that. Oh, wow, you're so courageous. And, and he looked at me, give me that, and I just remember him going, you wouldn't hand it over. And then I was like, oh, my God. This is like the most horribly written comedy. Tragic comedy. You told Donald Trump to turn around again. Yes, and did he? Again, they're going to. You think they would go into detail about Hunter or Joe? No. Joe was accused of a really heinous crime. Of course, nobody talked about it, and this is why. These are the true narcissists. Henry, Henry. Henry, I love you. You know what? I actually, you'd have to know something about politics, so I was gonna remove the comment, but I don't think people. It's all good. Henry, thank you, Henry. To my super chat, thank you. Thank you, Henry. Okay, so Stormy, yes. So he turned around, and he had. Oh my God. Oh my God. So that's all they're gonna do is talk about this. He quit talking about himself and he asked me things and I asked him things and it just became a little like more appropriate. Oh, thanks. It became comfortable. He was like, yeah, you're smart and beautiful and woman to be reckoned with and I like you. And this is, he was doing The Apprentice. Yeah, he goes, got an idea. Honey Bunch, would you ever consider going on and being a contestant? I laughed and said, NBC's never going to let you know. It's he goes, no. He goes, that's why I want you. You're going to shock a lot of people. You're smart and they won't know what to expect. Did you think he was serious? Or did you think he was just kind of dangling to get you to want to be involved with him both? So then they get nasty. Melania just given birth. Okay, and Hillary was there with Chelsea in the White House. So you want to get nasty, Anderson Cooper, you want to get in the mud. Okay. And Bill Clinton had his wife and daughter in the White House while all that was happening with the intern. So then you're gonna go there. I don't think Anderson Cooper is gonna go there. And then Hunter, we don't even have to get into everything that Anderson Cooper won't talk about pertaining to Hunter. So, or we can go. I mean, Anthony Weiner. I mean, Eric Schneiderman. You want to keep going down the list of morally superior liberals? I mean, did he mention his wife and child? Well, did Bill mention anything? Again, I think Hillary Clinton will be the 24 nominee. But at the end of the day, this is the most despicable form of journalism. Oh, my goodness. Rebecca, thank you. Hello. Oh, Anderson Cooper, I want you to ask Trump if he regrets his decision. What an immoral man! What an immoral man, Donald Trump. He's so immoral. He's not like me, a true man of God. Oh my goodness! I just heard a lightning strike when I said God. It was so funny. Every time I hold the Bible, it starts simmering in my hand. There's fumes every time I hold the Bible. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of like I'm searing through it with my hot fingers and palm. My white hot fingers and palm. I don't know what's going on. I just want to say, Anderson, you're doing a fantastic job. I just wish more people were nicer. Papa Naya, hello. Thank you for being a member. What happened next? I love that this is so hilarious. This is really, I asked him if I could use the restroom. He said, yes, it's through those doors. You'll see it. So I excused myself. A bit came out. He was sitting, at the edge of the bed. Okay, so here we go. I don't want to get all this. So within, less than 10 minutes, then it was, rock and roll time? I don't get it. This is hilarious. Oh, no. I don't want to have to read. I'll read the rest so you don't have. Okay, so I asked him yes to the bed, and then he was at the edge of the bed. Oh, that's funny. And then when you saw what was on your mind, I realized exactly what I had gotten myself into. I was like, ugh, here we go. And then just maybe okay, sort of, I had to make a bad decision for going somewhere. Well, you put yourself in, okay, so I don't know. Yeah. So she was 27, he was 60. She was 27 in 2000. Okay. So okay, so then they're going to get nasty. They're going to get down and dirty, and that's what this is all about. That's what this is all about, people. It's all about, how can you disparage Trump? How can you insult him? And hidden for time, praying you and all every American. Thank you, Hidden for Time. Thank you so very, very much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, Hidden for Time. Greatly appreciated. Thank you. I do appreciate that very much. To my super chat, I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. So I do think that either the end of this month or next month, I think they have the indictment ready. They have the indictment ready. They want him to perjure himself, and they want him to testify. Hidden for Time, thank you. To my super chat, thank you so very much. Can't do this without you, everybody. Thank you. I think they have the indictment ready. They want him to testify so they can get him on perjury. They want him to testify, Hidden for Time, so they can try to get him on perjury. But see, again, this will only hurt in the long run Democrats. The FEC initially declined to investigate the payment. Now, the term hush is such a funny hush money. Hush. It's like it's a contract. It's called a contract. It's a non-disclosure agreement. Okay? It's a non-disclosure agreement. Richard, hello. Hidden for time. Thank you so very, very much. Yeah, but lots of people say things that when times change, the meanings are also altered. Of course you're going to plead the fifth. He's not really guilty. Is he guilty of paying? Is he guilty of paying Stormy after a romantic relationship and violating campaign finance laws? No. Because you have to prove that he did so only because he thought he would lose to Clinton. Does anyone really think that do you think Trump truly believed, ladies and gentlemen, that he would lose to Clinton because of the Stormy affair? No way. If anything, at that time, he would have gained more votes. Probably. Nobody's looking at Trump. People look at Trump because they want a better country. They don't look at Trump for moral guidance. What Democrat looks at Biden for moral guidance? They hide behind the whole Morally Superior Act because they have so many scandals and controversies. So, they keep talking about Trump being a narcissist. The actual narcissists are people who deliberately ignore the corruption on their political side, pretend that it's less than what Trump, that is, it's trivial compared to the criminality of Trump, and then don't realize that the actual corruption on their side is infinitely worse. They're not privy to this corruption because of the massive public relations monstrosity that censors the New York Post. So, Hidden for time, thank you so very, very much. I will have a live stream, ladies and gentlemen, tonight at, I would say, probably about 9 o'clock or so. So be here at like 9. I guess we'll find out during the trial. We'll find out about any tax deductions. But I think Hidden for time, thank you. To my super chat, thank you so much. It's unbelievable. Jimmy Kimmel is like, here's the thing. You want to talk about an FEC violation. If you're giving free political advertising, there's a difference. If Jimmy Kimmel and Seth Meyers and Stephen Colbert and others, if this is a First Amendment, if they're utilizing their time every night because it's the First Amendment, that's one thing. If they're if they are working with, colluding with, communicating with Democratic operatives or the Democratic Party, that is a campaign finance violation. So it's Jimmy Kimmel that's likely committing a campaign finance violation if his producers or directors or people there calling, helping produce, every episode of his show, if they're actually talking to Democratic congressmen or congresswomen or congresspeople or staffers, and they're coordinating the jokes with the Democratic Party, then you have a big problem there. Then that actually is a campaign finance violation. You're giving free campaign donations. Love Babe Ruth. That's right. And actually, Babe Ruth, yeah, I love Babe Ruth. And he had writers party with him. That's one of he was a great man, but he had sports writers party with him. Okay. Ted Williams would have won the MVP in 1941, but it was a Boston writer, if you could imagine this. A Boston writer that didn't even put him in the top 10. He hits over 400. He's not even in the top 10. So that's what writers... Media's been doing this to people for a long time. So... Media's been doing this to people for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I mean... I think it's only a matter of time. Probably weeks, maybe less than that. So, when will he testify? Let's see. This is hilarious. He has an attorney linked to the Clintons and the Democratic Party, and Michael Cohen, who was suing because he was implicated in the Steele dossier that itself was an FEC violation, an actual, because we had fines. So Clinton pays fines, but it's a criminal probe into Trump. That's interesting. Oh, Lord. So he's going to testify next week. And Trump could very well be indicted the week after, or Angela Goodwin! Thank you, Angela! Thank you, Hidden for Time. Akina intermediated Persian. New spending bill USA introduced by Joey the Butt. It's so outrageous and this is important. Sorry the country's names only went through in foreign. Thank you, Persia. Angela, thank you. Angela Goodwin is one of the most intelligent people that I've seen on the internet, you know, on this channel, and so knowledgeable, so intelligent, and like everybody here, so wonderful. Thank you, Angela. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Sorry, Liz. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'll try to. If I yell, I'll do it like this. Angie, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's unbelievable. When you have, and here it is, Angela. Thank you so very much, Angela Goodwin. Hidden for Time. Thank you, Angela. It's a public relations monstrosity. So when you have a public relations monstrosity, you have a political machine where Michael Cohen was suing BuzzFeed, and now he has an attorney, you know, linked directly to the Democratic Party. At least 7 other people hearing evidence about the hush money deal. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. And Angela and everybody here, the problem with this for Trump is that he has to be okay with. So Angela, thank you. Hidden for Time, thank you. He has to be okay, and Henry, thank you. He has to be okay with admitting that he can't, in a court of law, they're gonna ask him. Well, that's the thing. I don't know how they can corner him, because he almost certainly did have a romantic relationship. how are they going to, if he lies about it, that's not good. So then if he tells the truth about it, then they say, well, you know what, it's a campaign finance violation. He admitted to it. It's like, well, but it's not a campaign finance. They have a bunch of hurdles. It's not a campaign finance violation if it was just a personal expenditure. Then they're going to have to actually prove that people wouldn't. Then they're going to have to actually prove that people wouldn't vote for Trump. So, Ken, hello. I am lurking, hello. That's right. I am lurking, hello. This is going to be very interesting. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be an obsession. And they're going to be like, he got indicted. Hunter did worse. Joe did worse. Hillary did worse. But they're very good at utilizing the system. If you create suspicion around Trump enough, because there's like only apoplectic hysterical coverage of Trump. The coverage is muted. And, you know, they downplay everything. They use the word downplay. They downplayed everything with Hunter and Joe. In fact, they censored the New York Post. So there you go. So here, Trump to meet with legal team on strategy for hush money. Hush, hush, hush. Well, by the way, we're 90 seconds to midnight here. We are 90 seconds to midnight. Not that anyone cares. Or even anyone really even knows what it is, whatever. But the real story is Trump had a romantic relationship with Stormy, and he paid money, and it was over a campaign limit. Okay. Joe forced out a prosecutor, altered U.S. foreign policy because Hunter was on the board of an energy company, very corrupt endeavor. Oh no, that's not true. He was forcing out the prosecutor because the prosecutor wasn't doing his job. Like, well, that's not when was the last time a vice president forced out any foreign official because they weren't doing their job? What is this? What does that even mean? S23, hello. Rebecca, Shabbat Shalom. Angie, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Trump lawyers have no plans to meet the Manhattan District Attorney, which has convened a grand jury to look into payments to Stormy. Oh, my God. This is so funny. The best part will be Trump. He's gonna soak this up. He's gonna really enjoy all of this. You think they're like, we got him, he's indicted. Nobody's going to care. Because this is not about national security. It's not like some kind of corrupt, like you're getting millions of dollars by selling access to the U.S. government, which almost certainly is what Hillary and Hunter did alongside Joe and Bill. But you have servers outside the U.S. government. Again, I think she'll be the 24 nominee. She could very well be the first president of the United States. I mean, the first female president. She could very well, Hillary Clinton, you heard it here first, could be the first female president of the United States of America. Not a fan of the Clintons. Just saying the truth. I'm telling you, you get Georgia and Republican parties, and they do a Cheney and Kinzinger type deal. It's a done deal that she becomes president. Without the Georgia and Arizona Republican parties, if the Georgia and Arizona Republican parties don't back Trump, also they'll try to say, oh, evangelicals, how can you vote for Trump? He had Stormy. It's like, well, the Bible is full of that, of examples of flawed people, okay, who do good things. So But it's going to be hilarious. This will really be hilarious. This will really, really, really be hilarious. Thank you, Angie. Oh, my goodness. Well, you know, it's, and what can I tell you? This is where we are in America. What can I tell you? I mean, from the Clintons' perspective, and I don't usually try to look at things from their perspective. Their perspective is, oh, well, you had a good time putting me through the ringer 30 years ago. Wouldn't let me breathe, wouldn't let me live. I had to go ahead and talk about, we were talking about intercontinental ballistic missiles. Kameshwari Kate! You might not be a fan of, but I am always tickled how you always have Mad and Fancy Pants. Well, I wouldn't, Kameshwari Kate, I wouldn't describe it in that manner, but Kameshwari Kate, hello. I just, like, for example, you watch, like, G.I. Joe, Cobra, you know, Superman, Lex Luthor, you know, Batman, the Joker, Wolverine, Sabretooth, what else? Transformers, Decepticons. So the way I look at it is not, and I was also, I don't know if Kameshwari Kate, thank you. I don't know if I let everybody know. I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. I don't know if I let you know this, everybody. And the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters. I was a Democrat, according to the Washington Post. I was a Democrat my whole life. But I am just looking at things from, I like to look at things from, well, why are we here? You know, these are rivals going at it, and Trump's chief rival was Hillary. It's not really mashed potato brains. Okay. His chief rival. Kameshwari Kate, look, you're wearing. Kameshwari Kate, hello. Oh, Eric, I disagree. I love, let's see, my favorite, Colossus. So Colossus, I agree with you. He was made of steel, turned into steel. Colossus, one of my favorites. Superman, the DC. I read Marvel growing up more so than DC. The DC would be Superman and Batman, but the Marvel was X-Men, Avengers. X-Men, Avengers. I remember reading Punisher. A whole bunch. Spider-Man, the Hulk. That's why I like when they try to revamp these franchises with today's bizarre, twisted ideology on a lot of things. It's like, it's not, it does. And there's enough, like, yet Hollywood has to stop making Marvel movies. It's enough. Also, is there anyone who really was interested in Ant-Man? I guess it's doing well around the world, but this was not a huge, like, important superhero, I don't know. But apparently it's doing well around the world, maybe not so well here. Exactly. They're just trying to prevent him from running, so. Angela Goodwin, thank you as always. Leanne, I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, I will, let's see, maybe we'll continue for a little bit more, but I will have a live stream a bit later. So if you type in Trump, what to know about prosecutor's probe, so I think it's only a matter of time just because they're desperate. These are Democrats that are desperate, absolutely desperate. Prosecutors also want to charge Trump with falsifying falsifying business records in his first degree, falsifying a record with the intent to commit another crime. I mean, here you have, like, rampant violations with money flow, 150 suspicious financial transactions, deemed suspicious by banks with Hunter and Joe. It's like, well, they're not really doing that, going after it. In which case, a violation of campaign finance laws. So, hush money payments aren't illegal. So here, prosecutors are weighing whether to charge with Trump falsifying business records of the Trump organization for how it reflected the reimbursement of the payment to Cohen. Who said the advance the money Daniels falsifying business records is a misdemeanor in New York. Misdemeanor, okay. Prosecutors also charging whether to charge Trump with falsifying business records in the first degree for falsifying a record with the intent to commit another crime or to aid in concealment of a crime, which is in the case could be a violation of campaign finance laws. They're really going after Trump. So they're going to try to get him on, like, bureaucratic issues. Mainstream, hello. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back. So I'll probably be back in about 2 hours or so. Be here. Probably be back around 7:30, 7:45. Be here, ladies and gentlemen. Hit subscribe to this channel. Be here at 7:45, people. Thank you for being here, for your support. And I will see you at around 7:45, everyone. Angela, Hidden for Time, everyone here, to my super chat, Kamashwari Kate, Henry Man. Thanks, everybody. I'll